Hey everybody, it's Bob here, and happy Constitution Day. You know, if July 4th, 1776 can be considered America's birthday, then September 17th, 1787 should be considered America's bar mitzvah. It's the day that we actually became a country. Today's the day that in Philadelphia, the Constitutional Convention sent the Constitution to the states for ratification. Now, that all happened in Philadelphia in 1787. Philadelphia is going to be a very busy place over the next year. Not only do we have the World Meeting of Families and the Pope coming next week, but we also have the Dalai Lama coming later on this month, and the Democratic National Convention will be showing up next year with Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Al Franken, and the rest of those guys. So I thought that this would be a great time to take my 100 firsts and show you 6 things that you might not have known about Philadelphia. I went all over the city to find out 6 really kind of goofy things about the city that you may or may not have known. Now, they're not all goofy. Some of them are serious and some of them are lighthearted, but they're things that you probably didn't know, even if you knew all the history of Philadelphia. Just some little trivial facts about the city. So hang on, we're going to look at 6 things you may not know about Philadelphia. Alright, so every day, tens of thousands of people pass behind me on the Schuylkill Expressway. They drive by and at nighttime they see the lights of Philadelphia's Boathouse Row. Very famous fixture on the waterfront of the Schuylkill River. The one light that they probably miss, however, as they're driving by, is the light on top of Turtle Rock Lighthouse, Philadelphia's very own lighthouse. It was built in 1887, and then the Sedgley Rowing Club sprung up around it. They actually built the row house around Turtle Rock Light. And Turtle Rock Light sits here on the Schuylkill Expressway, not far from the dam, so it warned boaters about the upcoming dam on the river before they would go over it. Turtle Rock actually predates Boathouse Row, so Turtle Rock Light was here prior to Boathouse Row. So Philadelphia has its very own lighthouse. Alright, so I'm standing here in North Philadelphia, Broad and Lehigh Street, across from an unassuming car wash and a bunch of shops and a Domino's and a gas station. But what you probably don't know, and probably what these guys washing the cars and the people getting their cars washed don't know, is that history actually took place there. Across the street stood the old Baker Bowl, which was the second home to the Philadelphia Phillies until 1938. In one of its last years in 1935, May of 1935 to be exact, Babe Ruth, arguably the best baseball player in history, played his final game at Baker Bowl. He stepped up to the plate, hit a soft ground ball to the first baseman, and was thrown out. Well, that was his very last game, and it was played right here in Philadelphia at Baker Bowl, right across the street from where I'm standing. Okay, so I'm here at Fitz and Gerard in Philadelphia, and probably the person who has the second most things named after him in Philadelphia, after Ben Franklin, is St. John Newman. I'm here at St. Peter the Apostle Church, and this is the shrine to St. John Newman. St. John Newman was the 4th Bishop of Philadelphia. He started the Catholic school system in Philadelphia, which yours truly is a product of, and it was the very first Catholic school system in the country, in the world in fact. So St. John Newman was canonized by Pope Paul VI in the 70s, and he's actually buried here behind us in St. Peter the Apostle Church. Okay, so a lot of people know that Philadelphia is across the river from the battleship New Jersey, and a lot of people have been on the USS Olympia behind me, which was Admiral Dewey's flagship during the Spanish-American War. But what a lot of people don't know is Philadelphia has its own submarine. Right behind me is the USS Bakunin, number 319. She was actually launched in 1944. She was decommissioned in 1969 and given to Philadelphia during the bicentennial in 1976. And a lot of people overlook it to go on to the Olympia, and many people forget that Philadelphia has its own submarine, the USS Bakunin. Wow. Please do not touch anything. Wow. Talk about tight quarters. Here's the officer's shower, by the way. There I am. I'm in the officer's shower. Don't tell the officer. Don't tell the captain. Engine room. Alright, so I'm on Camac Street, and this is, we'll pick up the litter here. Philadelphia's last wooden street. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the few last wooden streets in the world. The entire street is paved with wood blocks, and apparently back at the turn of the century, they thought this was a good idea, but they abandoned it a short time later because apparently all the horse pee on it was making all the wood blocks smell pretty bad. But this block is paved in wooden blocks. And it is one of the last wooden paved streets in the U.S. Alright, so I'm here in front of John's Pub, which is at 3rd and South Street. South Street is always a wild place in Philadelphia, no matter when you come down here. And one of the goofiest things about this place is that a lot of people don't know that it is the birthplace of one of the three Stooges, Larry Fine, probably the third funniest Stooge out of the three of them. So, John has erected a mural on the other side. It's too sunny out to really get a picture of it, but they put signs up all over the place talking about how they're the birthplace of Larry Fine. And Philadelphia has given the world so much: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, Chubby Checker, and they've also given the world Larry Fine of the Three Stooges. And that's another thing you don't know about Philadelphia. There! Who threw that pie?